Yo, all right. This is a stream. This is a stream on my. This is So we're gonna. This is a. Hopefully, I can't stream twice. I can't stream to YouTube and to Twitch. So this is a YouTube stream. So that is relevant. If I don't think anyone there is any overlap in the audiences here. But today we're going to be talking about this is not most people aren't really too interested in this because you can always find textbooks online if you're in. Most people that are looking for textbooks, the Internet Archive really for textbooks, and we'll get into that since they're lending out a limited number of books. Most of the textbooks are usually gone by the time anyone gets to it. But there's a lot of other free stuff that they were not free, but there's a lot of other information that they were lending out that was very useful. So we got the paper here. We went through the paper, and also for just because this is the uh, tech situation, we got Notebook LM here, and we have ChatGPT search. I'll use Notebook LM, and I'll show that it is useless, and because I don't use it. But I'll show you why. So first, we'll just make a new notebook here, and we'll upload the file here. For PDFs, I use small PDF, and small PDF has become fascist, and they do charge you. So you can't save documents while you're editing them as easily. So you have to kind of like here. Look, I just hit finish, and now I am stuck. So I can continue, but if I leave this page, I cannot continue, um, which is a problem. So hopefully it just didn't delete all of my annotations, and it didn't. Okay, good, which is good. Okay, that's cool. Hopefully. All right, cool. Okay, but you see, they've kind of changed their service. I need to find another one. That doesn't really matter. It lets you highlight. I think Acrobat also does the same thing, but I don't have Acrobat because I just don't. Okay, I should, but I don't. So here we uploaded the document to Notebook LM. It should be down there, I think. No, down there. Down there. It should be down there. Um, uh, so let's get to it. Let's make sense of this. Yeah. Huh. Okay. So let's hold on. Let me check something here. Uh, hopefully this is. Hopefully this works. Uh, okay. Well, we'll just have to make do this. Okay, but so first we have just call it this is Notebook LM down here. And I'll also have ChatGPT Search, which is an extension. And both of them are not great because again, it's the benefits that you'd want from something that could help you search are not the things that these notebooks or these models, large language models, do. So this is we're streaming. So it's gonna just we'll get to it. Hold on. Hatchet verse Internet Archive. That's what I will call it. And that's spelled wrong. All right, so here, what we can do is we can get a summary. And again, if you click on the source, It's just the text, which is terrible. It doesn't actually persist. The source isn't saved. It's just the text is extracted, which is annoying. Um, and you don't have any way to recover the source. There's not even a pointer to it. It's not connected to Google Drive. Uh, I'm not really a fan of what Notebook LM has done here, but that's what we got. Um, it's going to give me a summary. I think the only thing that would be kind of useful is and look, I can't even, I have to, like, you see this crap? You can't even zoom out. The interface is not set up right. The deep dive might be interesting just to hear what they have to say. And you can actually affect the deep dive by typing in here, so that's kind of useful. Uh, Deep dive, what do you call them? Authors or podcasters? Anyway, so while that goes, there might be another. You might have to add it in a note. Um, okay, so we'll go ahead and run that and just generate and see what happens. It takes a few minutes. So here's the case. Okay, so the Internet Archive, and they'll explain that here. The Internet Archive creates digital copies of print books and posts those copies on its website where users may access them in full for free in a service it calls the Free Digital Library. Internet Archive also does the Wayback Machine. So their services are extremely helpful, and they're a nonprofit. They ask for donations, which kind of comes into play. Um, I haven't donated to them, and I don't plan on it. That being said, they are very useful. Same with Wikipedia. I also have never donated to them, and I should probably consider that, given their use. But it's neither here nor there. Even the Wayback Machine, they're starting to delete stuff from it. The Wayback Machine needs a Wayback Machine. But other than a period in 2020, the Internet Archive has maintained a 1-to-1 owned to loaned ratio for its digital books, which is why some of the textbooks are gone. So it used to be that just the books digital library owned, they would loan those out and you could check out the book. Now they've expanded that, and they say that later to they have some affiliates or not amigos. It should be amigos, but they use a different amicas, I think is what it is. Amicis. It'd be cool if it was amigos. We amigos out here. They have uh amicis. See if I can find it. Okay, they partnered with the Open Library of Richmond and Better World Books to acquire print books for digitalizing and posting on IA's website. So they buy books, but they're still maintaining that 1-to-1 own to loan. So for every book they actually own, they loan out a digital copy to the people, which they shouldn't have to do. They stopped doing that during 2020 for a brief period to deal with the COVID epidemic or whatever it was, the China virus, as it may be called, or some kind of fraudulent event where people gathered together and told people what to do instead of just staying home for some ungodly reason, which is another thing that was ridiculous. If you were afraid of that, you should have just stayed home. Why the people were telling people, were yelling at people to do stuff while those people should have stayed home. If you were one of those people, I judge you, which I shouldn't judge people, but those people, I really were like, what the hell's wrong? Just stay. Why are you outside? Stay home. What are you talking about? If all the people that were worried about it with their mask on outside, in their mask on in the car, if they just stayed the fuck home, that would have canceled out 90% of it. And it wasn't even that got it. It wasn't that bad, but that's okay. So there's those people. Um, but during that period, they got rid of the one to one and they were loaning out books pretty much to whoever was willing to get them for whatever period of time. And they found that there's some other things about the sales, uh, some kind of weak arguments that they made later. But that's basically what this company or this nonprofit organization does. They, them and their affiliates buy books, scan the books, and allow people to check the books out like a library. And this case is determining whether that constitutes fair use. And their main argument is that this copying is transformative and they're doing something different. And they mention Google Books and TV Eyes as kind of example, not them, but the whole case is referencing these two situations. Google Books, they scan books and do searches. So, but the distinction is that you don't get to access the full book. So you just get to, if you're searching for things, and you've seen Google Books, probably I would do. You don't have to, it's right here. So Google Books, it's an advanced book search. Maybe large breasts. We'll see if anything comes up. Um, okay, so here we are, breasts. I don't know why, I probably should have searched something else, but I really don't even know. So here you can search portions of the book, and sometimes you can actually get most of the book, or if not all of the book, and you can see the word breasts might not have been on these pages, and you have reached a page that is unavailable for viewing, and it looks like the rest of the pages aren't shown. So that was their claim, that since this was allowed as fair use, because they're not showing, because first of all, it is transformative. They're offering a service, which is search on print books, which is not available, and the harm is minimal because they are not offering the full text. TVIs was a different service, and let's use Search GPT here. So a little adage. It's a Chrome extension, and I'm not too much of a fan here, but you are going to have to change your default browser, which you can do by just going into settings and then default browser right here, and not default browser, search engine. You can change the search engine here, and where is the uh, man? Huh? Where's the ChatGPT search? Uh, huh? That's weird. Should be, the extension is that's unfortunate. Maybe it's secure search. I doubt it. I know it's not, because yeah, that's not that. That should be gone. I shouldn't even have that on there. And I do apologize for using breasts. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. But just that was just a term that maybe it's something to, it'd be kind of, the books we could find would be from all over the place, is what they, maybe some medical books. I don't know, it's a good search. Uh, so I'm just going to use it through, you can actually just use it through Chat OpenAI and go to ChatGPT, and you can press the globe button and do searching here. So and it actually does answer questions, which is pretty good. It does give sources, which is okay. One thing it's not too great at is your queries or prompts or inputs aren't aggregated in a persistent way. So that kind of can be annoying if you expect it to be, but if you're using it like a search engine, you don't normally expect that. So that's fine. So TBI was founded in 1999. And let's keep in mind that Google is Google. Let's um, uh, let's go to the wiki here. Or I guess alphabet is what we want. So let's not go. Equity $283 billion of equity. Net income $73 billion. Operating income $84 billion. So maybe that's a large company. That is about, and surprisingly, Saudi Arabia is only pulling in about $150 billion of oil money a year. Like they're not really, like that's not a lot when you, like 150 billion. So they might have, maybe 200 dudes that are in control of the oil, and so that's why it looks. But that's not really that much. There's really not a lot going on there when you consider that. But that's okay. TVIs was determined not to be fair use, even though they're just offering snippets of video that you could search for. It does seem to be transformative. It does seem to be quite um, uh, different. It's quite similar to what Google Books was doing, but they give their reasons for why TVIs was not fair use in here as well. And this is just background. We will search for it. Here, maybe Colab can help, but you'll see the Colab here. So maybe it might. This might be something. TVIs. So we're going to ask to explain why TVIs was not determined to be fair use, and then we can go ahead and listen to the podcast that it created just for a second, just to see if it did follow the prompt, which it often doesn't. So
welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep on something pretty fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
A legal battle that's got the whole literary world buzzing. It's major book publishers versus the Internet Archive.
Right.
All over this thing called digital book lending.
Yeah, digital lending is
like really hot topic.
Huge.
And a recent ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals is kind of shaking things up.
Really is.
So we're going to break it all down.
Okay.
What does this ruling mean for authors, publishers, libraries?
Right.
And of course, for readers like you.
Like us.
Exactly. Get ready, because this is where things get.
Yeah, this is
interesting.
It's juicy.
So this ruling basically says the Internet Archive can't.
Like the pauses are but the way that they do it is so similar, but the human interaction's very, very, it seems human, I think. I don't know.
Just scan books.
Right.
And then lend them out digitally like a regular library.
Okay.
So we're going to try to unpack how the court came to that decision
Right.
and see what it could mean for how we read books in the future.
Yeah, the future of reading, that's a big one.
Huge.
And at the heart of this whole thing is this idea of fair use.
Okay. Yeah. Fair use. I've heard of that.
It's a really important part of copyright law.
But it's so confusing.
It is. It really is.
Stuff.
Right. Protecting their turf.
And the Internet Archive saying, we're just trying to help people learn.
Yeah, making knowledge accessible.
It's a real tug of war.
Yeah.
So who won?
Well, the courts, they sided with the publishers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They said that what the Internet Archive was doing with the digital lending, that it wasn't protected under fair use.
Well, the whole transformative argument.
Didn't buy it.
They didn't buy it.
No. They basically said that lending a digital book is basically the same as lending a physical book.
Libraries can do their job.
Provide books for everyone.
And we can't forget about the readers.
The most important part.
If this means publishers raise prices, it could hurt readers the most.
Okay, and that's another thing. They're saying that the ebook lending, they're actually, in often cases, they're charging more for libraries than the ebook actually costs to provide that service. I personally think that this is transformative and it doesn't harm. So let's get to the, where's the, okay, so we can view the chat here. Let's see if it, okay, cool. It looks like it did get there. Well, the sources focus, they do mention Fox News, a case where defendant TBI offered a service that recorded television broadcasts and allowed users to search and watch short clips. The users, here's why. Offered a that was another thing. It was for profit. They were charging a subscription service, which meant that they were directly benefiting from the use. And again, Fox, let's look at Fox Corporation, not the animal. What are they doing? Okay, so they're, net income 1.5 billion, total equity 10.7 billion. Operating income 1.8 billion. So they're doing okay. Again, favored them. I don't know, who knows what's going on, but the amount of copyrighted material made available to the public. Service that provided a substitute for accessing Fox's programming directly. And that was another one of the things. It basically is what you're doing. So the transformative argument isn't actually part of fair use. It's just kind of to help the whole thing. But is what you're doing a substitute for the original work? Are you making money off of it? Are you harming the company, the publisher, by taking away services or providing a service that substitutes what they would normally have? Are we still in the background? It does list this. All right. So in evaluating the 4 statutory fair use factors set forth in section 107, the courts found that AI's use of the works in suite is non-transformative because IA reproduces the works in full and its digital copies serve the same purpose as the originals. I disagree there because generally these are, first of all, they're not really PDFs. You can download them and get a PDF, and which is still not an ebook. So when you have an ebook, the ebook is packaged in a certain way. It comes with, it's not just a PDF. Rarely is an ebook, when you get an ebook on your Amazon Kindle or whatever, it's not just a straight PDF. There's more features to it. There's maybe transcription, or some kind of voice transcription. There's maybe a ability to bookmark in certain ways. There's a ton of features that the ebook usually provides that IA wasn't providing. If you really like that book, it's unlikely that you would be satisfied with just a PDF, which you aren't even technically supposed to download. I don't think. Maybe you can. I don't remember how that worked. You probably weren't. But the website format itself is just a click through. It's not. It is transformative. It does not serve the same purpose as an ebook, and it certainly doesn't serve the same purpose as a paper textbook. So I think there's still room to argue there. Definitely. Commercial because despite IA's nonprofit status, it exploits the works by soliciting donations on its website and taking a cut of the proceeds when users buy a physical book from BWB using a link embedded on IA's website. So, yeah, I mean I mean, I don't know how much you can do there. Not much you can do there. They are taking it. They are, getting a cut of the proceeds. And they do say keep the lights on, which is kind of they use the term keep the lights on in the paper somewhere, which I thought like kind of made me geek a little bit. Where it doesn't go to it. Goodness. Maybe just the word lights. What? Okay, so this search function is complete garbage. It says no results for on. That's okay. So the search is not acting appropriately. Well, actually, we have the actual PDF right here. Yeah, keep the lights on. Must solicit funds to keep the lights on. And they actually said that it was. They maintained that it was. They said not commercial to the district court. Uh, and this is an explanation of what the previous court did. They go on later to say that we disagree. We didn't think it was commercial. But so that was one of them. I think it kind of is, it's a little bit commercial, a little bit, at the very least. I mean, you gotta, yeah, where did all the highlighting go? Why did it do this? What the fuck? Um, uh, yeah, this site is acting funny. Technical difficulties. But this actually looks pretty good. This was a good. I was having trouble doing this for not technical, but programming papers. It wasn't able to like find sections of code, not even an exact section. But if I would say something like uh, and I have examples for. Well, we want to stay on topic here, but it does seem to do a good job for straight text, which makes sense. So it looks like it did a good job here. Um, what are the criteria for fair use that the court made its decision? How do you spell that? Goodness, did I actually get that right? Decision. There's no way that's how you spell that. Nah, there's no way. All right. Decision. There we go. On. What criteria for the Fair Use Act? What are the criteria for fair use? The court made its decision. I think that makes sense. Those words are probably not. Okay, here, the highlighting's back. I'll just go ahead and download it. Okay. Sorry, I've got not a cold, but my nose is like. Okay, transformative use, nature of copyrighted works, amount and sustainability of use, and effect of the use on the potential market. And I disagree with transformative use. I think it is transformative. And the effect of the use on the potential market, which is basically what they were arguing. Both of those. Everything else, I think. They were saying as well. I don't think it harms the market substantially because, again, the transformative nature of the work, which I feel like they should bring up, is not uh, equivalent to the features you get from the actual text. So it's not it's not a substitute. It's not even a substitute for an ebook. It's it's just a way to view the text online, not a way to replicate the book electronically. I think is how is something they should there it's an equivalent. Not sure what an equivalent would be. A competing substitute. I'd say it's not a competing substitute. It's not. It may be a substitute, but it's certainly not a competing substitute. It's a different product. It's a way to access something that for some is unaccessible. So they do talk about that though as not being valid. And they do weigh this is mentioned that here. They want to weigh the benefits of this to the public versus the benefit of not allowing this to the public. So let's see if we can find that. Okay, so non-exclusive factors. If this is like math, that means that there's overlap in these, I guess. It's probably like math. Okay, no, not the only factors considered. Um, right, they don't mention the transformativeness. Determining whether a particular use is fair, the purpose and character of use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, and this is Copilot here. So I usually Copilot's the main AI tool I use almost for all searching everything. I generally stick to Code because it's in the browser right there and it's not persistent. And for some reason, the fact that it doesn't save chats makes it makes me more likely to just ask it anything. Whereas ChatGPT going in here, having to set this up, like I don't want to just waste chats for even though I'm not wasting any, but there's some kind of mental block that I have that I don't have with Copilot. I just ask it whatever the hell I feel like it. Like and yeah, so you can refresh it once it reaches the limit. It's fine. So the purpose and character of use, whether it's a commercial nature, it's for nonprofit educational purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and sustainability of portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, and the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. The purpose and character of the use is of a commercial nature. They said that they might gain monetarily, but they disagreed that it was of commercial nature, which is good because that would be, it is for nonprofit educational purposes. The nature of the copyrighted work, generally these were nonfiction materials, but it was material of all kinds directly copied and presented. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. It was the entire document. So it's the the amount and the substantial, how much, and how often, basically. So it was a lot and all of it, which the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. And they were saying that if they allowed this, it would take away incentive. Some lady, Sandra Cisneros, she probably went up there and started crying or something. I don't know, but she said that it would affect her writing, her ability to be an author, because she only writes for massive sums of money, and she wouldn't write if just to spread her ideas to the public. Because she cares about the things she's writing for. She didn't say that exactly, but that was basically the gist of what she said. I'm not exactly sure. Um, the fair use, so they go, they don't, so it's non-exclusive because they don't mention the transformative nature of the work, and there's some other factors that they don't mention. Um, so transformativeness, again, whether the new work merely supplants the original or instead adds something new with a further purpose or a different character, altering the original with new expression, meaning, or message. So they say that it is. The people here say that the use of the work to achieve a purpose that is the same or highly similar to that of the original is more likely to substitute or supplant the original work and less likely to be considered transformative. But I guess it's all subjective to the courts. And examples are criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Parodies of original work usually are. And it may be transformative because it improves the efficiency of delivering the original content. Um, Google Books expanded the utility of the originals. So I would say that it isn't. It is transformative because they're taking the text and scanning it and doing a scan of the text and providing it in a format that's not the normal formats that ebooks are in. What are typical ebook formats, we ask? EPUB, MOBI, PDF, AZW, IBA. So generally, I don't even think PDF is a ebook format. Generally, but you can get PDFs from them, but the actual Internet Archive is not a PDF. So we can go to the site here, Internet Archive, and American Libraries. Um, Maybe the Boston Public Library. In Canabola. Let's see if we can view it here. And here we are. So this is what you get. Generally, there's not an option to download. It looks like there are here a few options. And we'll go ahead and click that and go ahead and go here. And I'm not going to do that, but let's get the PDF download here. And now we've downloaded it as a PDF. Here's what you get. This is it. It's literally the scanned book. This is not an ebook. You can't search this. It's not the same feature. This is literally a scanned copy of the book. It's not the same thing. It's definitely not the format that you get with an ebook, and it definitely doesn't substitute what you expect when you're looking for an ebook. It's a completely different piece of material. This is almost a historical record. It's not a, it's definitely transformative. I don't know how they didn't get that one, because this is not an ebook. This is a scanned text. This is you can't do anything with this that you would normally do with an ebook. And then we go to the page here. The actual format that the Internet Archive provides you is not ebook-like. The button down here it's just a button, and you click through the book as if it were a literal book, not as if it were an electronic book. It's not how, this isn't how any of the ebook services are set up. They're not, this is a viewer, this is like an image viewer. It's like a slideshow of a scanned copy of a book. Now this is a kind of an old book, and so they're not all this. They're not all like this. There's some better. We can go to the open library here, and we'll do. Well, let's get something more modern. Fear and Loathing on the Camping Trail. Okay, so I guess now you can't. I don't want to borrow it to deprive someone else. Munich's. Look at this. This site's a mess now. You can't even. Goodness. Alright. Let's not go to the open library. Let's just Brigham Young University, BYU. They got good people there. Let's see what they got. Very reduced library set. That's okay. Okay, so these are all just scanned books directly. You're gonna get the same thing here. But it would be misleading to say that every book is literally a scanned book. They do have digital copies of books on here that aren't literally the scanned pages. So that's not all they have, but it's the same idea that what you're looking at is literally just page after page after page of the actual book. It's not like an ebook. I don't have an example of an ebook to compare to, but it really should be transformative. It's something different, and it improves the efficiency of delivering the original content because, again, it's not an ebook. So generally, for ebooks, you're kind of restricted to some ebook service that you might not have access to wherever you are. You might not be able to use Amazon Kindle. You might not have an Amazon Kindle. You might not be able to get an Amazon account. You might not be able to set yourself up in that way to access that media. So it definitely improves the efficiency by making it available on the internet in a sense that anyone with the web browser can access this regardless of where they are, or what kind of browser they have, or what kind of accounts and financial status they're living under. But it doesn't substitute the ebook because it's not really an ebook. It's just a series of pages that are put together in order, which I think is different. It's not, you're missing features that an ebook normally has, and it's not as nice to use as an ebook normally is. So I would find that if you'd really liked a piece of text that was on there, I think you'd be just as likely to buy the book. And they were saying that there was no correlation between profits and the amount of usage that the Internet Archive was providing, which I guess we can skip to. Evidence suggests it is intended to achieve the exact result. And then because they mentioned that they had some ads that were like, don't buy ebooks, or you don't have to buy it again, get free ebooks and all that. But again, it's not the same thing. It's not really a substitute. It's not a substitute for the original. It's a substitute for using a book at all. It's a substitute for using an ebook at all, because of its ability to be distributed more effectively. So it's a substitute in the sense that you can now just access this on your browser easily without an account, and without having to go through the hoops of buying an ebook, which the process of buying an ebook is often extremely complicated and annoying. And it's more efficient than going to a library, because again, you don't have to use the library service. So it's just more efficient, easier to use, and still in not as user friendly in the interface. But the access is easier. The user interface is significantly worse. So I think I kind of dropped the ball there. Okay, and then they did these is kind of this is kind of shady. This Dr. Jorgensen, uh, not really shady, but it's a bad. So should have put a underline somewhere. Okay, so he's saying that in summer 2020, they showed that the sales of the ebooks slowed down, and not even though the Internet Archive or the free digital library uh, relaxed their relaxed their policy on who could borrow books or who could view the text content that they had. So even though they relaxed it and more people were able to access the books, the sale of ebooks didn't increase. In fact, when they tightened up restrictions, the sale of ebooks increased. Uh, and they're saying obviously that there's no, that's just two data points. They kind of smoke them here with this. What do they say? All right. Does not even have an empirical model, let alone a model that accounts for the effect of various other causal factors on publisher sales. So, it's just you can't really, correlation and causation or some kind of something about that. Which, is kind of, this is such a weak argument. It's kind of crazy that they put that in there, but that's fine, I guess. And then this rhymer went to Amazon sales rankings and found the same thing, that during these periods, the Amazon sales rankings didn't seem to be affected by uh, the free digital library. But then they say here, Amazon's algorithm that determines its rankings is vague and reportedly susceptible to manipulation, which they didn't prove. but it is pretty much true. But you can't just say that, I feel like. So I feel like there's more. You'd have to prove that, and they should have, gone a little harder on that. How do you determine that the rankings are vague? The algorithm, just because the algorithm that determines the rankings are vague, company that large, how can you purport to suppose that the algorithm that they're using, and that the algorithm that they're using is public, and that the algorithm that they're using is ineffective? I don't know, they didn't say any of that, so that's kind of iffy. Thus, there's no reason to doubt the common sense inference, and we all know inference is, it's almost as bad as induction. That PR's activities would usurp the market for organization standards. Um, I strongly disagree. I don't think anyone is an actual fan and would actually use the textbook or any piece. It's not even textbooks really. The textbooks were hard to get on here, so it wasn't the main use wasn't textbooks, but there's a bunch of documents on there that are gone, and a bunch of, even books that were, like supplementary material to textbooks that you can't. No one's gonna have like like it's the author of the textbooks, 20-page book on, like some small chap. Like a lot of these books are hard to find. Like you're not gonna, they don't exist in it. I don't know how they had them, but there's a lot of stuff on there that is pretty, I guess, I don't know, kind of esoteric. I don't know, so, hard to find stuff that I guess was copyright, for some reason. I don't know how, because they're pretty old. Maybe like stuff from the 40s and stuff like that. Uh, like the 50s, 60s, and stuff. No one's buying those. And if anyone is a fan of that and was actually using it for any other purpose than to just quickly get some information, they would still go to the library, or they would buy the book. It's not like this was people that would reference this many times would use the Internet Archive. Uh, if I were to reference something on the Internet Archive a bunch, I'd probably copy the text, which I could do if I was in the library, you're free to do that. You can copy the important sections of the text and have those for reference, or you buy the book. I've bought a bunch of books, that I liked, that I read, repeatedly if the time comes. Like, philosophy texts. I got that. I got meditations in here. Um, Leotard. This is a good piece of text. If you haven't done this one, this will break it down for you. The postmodern condition. This will break it down for you. This will tell you. They're talking in the 70s. They already mapped out everything that was going to happen. They're like, it's just happening. There's nothing we can do. Um, there's book here. About the, that's what I mean though. A book like this is he's a famous guy, but there's a lot of books that people write that are like this one's long. It's like not 100 page, not long, but it's 100 page. This is a 2 day for me. I can do maybe 30 pages in a day, and then I tap out. But this there's books like this that are 20 pages, like 30 pages. It's not a paper, but it's like a book that people put out. Like you can't find those. That kind of shit. You're not gonna, if you really wanted it, you'd buy it. There's no, there's not. It's not, the market for them is small and inconsequential. The material. So that's not all the material that was on there. So, but I still think that uh, they should be able to get testimonials of people to say that the people that buy books are not usually using them for short-term use, or for, uh, uh, anyone that's using the Internet Archive is not using that as their main source of, literature. They're not. Uh, and actually, I have both meditations, but I meant uh, Descartes, but I do have Marcus Aurelius too. It's a short Marcus Aurelius. It's a short book. It's like a 20-page book. That's what I'm talking about. Those things are hard to find. If you're using that, it's kind of a one-time thing. You're not. That's not the main source. You're gonna still get the book. I guess you can't really prove that, but that's not that. I really disagree with the idea that it usurps the market for organization standards. Uh, And I argue that they reject the common sense claim that if users can download an identical copy of, and it's not identical though, like it's not an identical copy of the work for free. You're getting a PDF. It's not the same thing as an ebook. It's not. It's not even close. An ebook is going to give you, a lot of extra stuff. An ebook's gonna, ebook. It's a book. It's an electronic book. It's a whole service that's packaged and put together to try and mimic or enhance the features of reading a book. This is a list of text. It's not the same thing at all. It's definitely not an identical copy. It's an identical copy of the text and the work, but not an identical copy of the work. That I think is a distinction that you could definitely make. You could definitely say that it's not, it's an identical copy of the text, but not an identical copy of the work. And people that are looking for an ebook or looking for a book are not going to be satisfied with PDF of the text in the book, and are certainly not going to be satisfied with a scanned a collection of in order scanned pages. That's not going to satisfy anybody that's interested in the text at all. It's not a substitution. It's a transformative piece that is for the benefit of the people to exist and does not hinder anyone or anything from producing more material, because the amount of money that they lose is it's got to be negligible, and they showed that the sales that didn't had no difference. There's not a noticeable drop in sales before this service existed and after this service existed. Uh, but whatever. That I'm not sure. They could have. They seem to not make enough arguments on that end. And it's an introduction to the text itself too. So it does benefit the public, and I think if anything, it would make people more likely to purchase the text if it's something that they wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise, which is very likely that you're not going to be exposed to some of the texts that were on there. And being exposed to it in PDF format, it's not satisfying. And once you've gone through that a few times, you're going to get sick and tired of it and go and buy the actual book. I don't know anyone who's using the Internet Archive as the main source. It's the main way that they access text uh, of unless they only access text intermittent through, if they only access text for short periods of time. Like if you have to access text for like a month and then you're never going to access it again, or even for a year and you're never going to access it again, then yeah, but you wouldn't have bought the book probably in that case anyway. And if you would have, you're wasting it. You're not. You would have, maybe gone to the library and loaned it out. It's not. You're not. No one's losing profits. Each digital book Internet Archive disseminates, it deprives publishers and authors of the revenues due to them as compensation for their unique creations. I mean, that's ridiculous. I disagree with that. Internet Archive asks the courts to bless. Oh, they also say that they should be provided just for them, which they also deny. Which I think is a good idea. There should be a special stipulation that one company, maybe the Internet Archive, gets to do this. If they can't let everyone do this, there should be some. It should be the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress, we should be able to go there and look at everything they have there online. I'm not sure that we can actually. Okay, well, the website's a fucking mess. So, well, okay, I don't. Goodness. Okay, so it doesn't look like you can actually. Oh, these aren't even. This is Jesus Christ Nativity meditations. I didn't know that that was. I'm sure that's the best version, obviously, but I've never heard of it or seen it. I'm not sure what they cover there, but uh, uh, that's not the meditation that I was looking for. Unenlightened, I am. Uh, makes the final. I'm not even sure what that is. That's what. Uh, wow. Christian meditation is different than huh. All right, well, yeah, we'll check that out. These guys, they got their own thing there. It's obviously the best way to do it, but sometimes it's not really what you're looking for. Um, but yeah, that's the one-to-one, owned alone, maintaining that. So they're not even willy-nilly distributing things. Transformative. They are taking something that is not accessible to the people, making it accessible to the people in a way that's not a substitute. That's not. It's certainly not a format copy of the services that exist. You're not gonna. Amazon Books or Amazon Kindle isn't giving out PDFs. I think they're using EPUBs or something. Their format's screwed up. It's actually AZW. It's something terrible. Can there's it's a different service. It's a different product. Those are meant to be used on a device specifically to mimic the view of a book, some kind of e-note, e-screen or something like that. It's a whole nother thing. The book itself is obviously not digital, so that should be, it's completely different. And it does make it easier to use because you're not restricted to any particular service. You're not restricted to making an account, which you are if you're getting an ebook. Generally, if you get an ebook, you have to set up an account somewhere. Maybe does Barnes and Noble still do their thing? Um, does Barnes and Noble exist? Uh, the Nook. I had a Nook. Um, what I would do on the Nook is I would get Playboy magazines on the Nook. You could search the web on the Nook, but it was it's not video, but you can get the Playboy magazines. Um, there's actually titties on there if you didn't know that. I don't know if they still do that. I think it's dicks now or something. They changed it. Is what I heard. But anyway, so the Nook, they have that. That's where you get your ebooks. Nook, Kindle, it's their own service. Um, Not the same. Lack permission. The permission's implied because it's a library. It's a one-to-one. They bought the book and they're loaning it out like they would in the library. Apparently, sometimes now they're asking for an ebook licensing, but that's bullshit. We got to get rid of that. Um, yeah, I mean that harms the people. If at the very least, Congress, the Library of Congress should be providing this service. That's crazy. They have to rebuy the license because of a change in format. That's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. 5.9 million users and 3.2 million copies, and they're saying that effectuates about 70,000 book borrowers a day, which is bullshit because I mean that's just ridiculous. The shit they got away with here is just a little bit intense. Uh, you're assuming that everyone's borrowing a book every day, which is not the case, and that if someone is borrowing a book for an extended period of time, that they are somehow uh, in use of that book the whole time. And I'm not. It's just garbage. Whoops, what happened? Did that already? Promote the progress of science and useful arts. I mean, most science is built on reformatting things that were published by other people. It's generally, even just reproducing a work that's been done by someone else often leads to progress in science. Do we want progress in science? I would say probably not. Like, there's no end to this. There's nothing, like, we're not gonna But whatever. That's another argument. That's another discussion for another time. I'm not sure what we're progressing towards. It doesn't seem like, but that's fine. We're still. That's how most science has progressed. Obviously, progressed. So I'm not sure how not having a centralized service for people to view text is gonna hinder the progress of science. That there should be someone should you should be able to access everything that's been published somewhere. And usually it's a library. They don't have everything, but they got most stuff. The Library of Congress should have everything though. They got it all there probably is what I heard. I never been there, but I heard they got it all there. They have everything there. Every newspaper, every book, everything's there. Supposedly, they're probably lying. I don't know how anyone would check that, but supposedly it's all there. That should be available online. You should be able to go online and get that. Just for, I mean, if they're giving out free stuff in that's some of the free stuff they should be giving out. That's ridiculous. Even if they have to pay a licensing fee, that service should exist. And the substitute, the service that did exist was not even a substitute of that. They were had a subset of PDFs that represented the book, but it wasn't the book itself. PDF is not the book itself. It's a different thing. It's not an ebook either. It's just a way to view the text. It's not a way to replicate having the book. That's completely different. But I mean, there's not really much. I don't see who cares about this. I don't think anybody actually cares about this, which is fair. That is fair. Um, that yeah, that's there's not really much to care about. Uh, Popular books would be limited use because it's a one-to-one. You know, most books were unavailable at the time, but a lot of them weren't. And so the public would not. No one's gonna suffer because of this. Who even buys books? When was the last time anybody bought a book? Probably never. So that, yeah, that's, so, and then Sony again, they won their case and they, for recording, because it was earlier. They said that the reason why Sony got away with allowing people to record TV programs and broadcast them, record TV programs and watch them later is because it was before they didn't know that people were gonna, share them or something. uh, to it was decided long before modern technology made it possible for one to view virtually any content at any time. So that's ridiculous. But it doesn't mention that if you recorded content and then had people over to watch that content, what the implications of that were, or if you broadcasted the content that you recorded over, through, I don't know, not radio, I guess, but I guess it could be radio. I mean, that'd be not very good, but some way through the airwaves, the radio's fine. It's, what's the, I think it's like 30 megabits per second, the radio transfer rate, the data transfer rate. Oh, Jesus Christ, never mind. It's 1.2 gigabits per second. Satellite is several hundred megabits per second. So radio is not going to cut it. That's 1.2 kilobits per second. We could satellite, you could do that. Remember, space is fake, so satellites are radio, and we have to reconsider. There's some kind of, it's hard to know what's going on there. We can't really prove that things exist outside of our realm here. So, it could be location dependent. Um, but if you did do that, if you had a satellite, um, then that goes into there. I mean, if you just anywhere, you use. I don't know. They didn't have the technology back then. So yeah, they didn't have the technology to do it back then. So I guess that counts. Now it doesn't get reversed because uh, that's kind of ridiculous. Sony is another. What's Sony doing? Quite a bit. Jesus. Operating income is 1.2 trillion. Net income is 943 billion. Now Sony does a lot of different crap. They make everything. They're like Mitsubishi also makes everything. Yamaha, they make everything. Like TVs to musical instruments probably. I know Yamaha does that. Yamaha literally makes everything. But Yamaha's at 46 billion. Uh, I don't know how net income is higher than operating income, but so that kind of I don't I'm not sure how that works, but that's what you got going on there. You're definitely gonna need a verification needed is correct, uh, but that's what they got. So Sony's doing a lot. That's pretty crazy. Now Microsoft's definitely not doing more than Alphabet, so yeah, they're not. So Sony's really doing a lot. Um, who even GE? They're not. They also make everything, but they're not on the same level. Uh, yeah, they're not even close. I remember people were saying GE, like something about their stock was supposed to. They didn't do nothing. What about Nokia? They're not even close, but they also were supposed to. There was like I was kind of paying attention to the stock market for like a couple minutes, and then I realized that this is retarded. Not doing much. I don't know how they're still in business, but Sony, yeah, they won theirs because for some reason I don't know. That's yen. Oh crap, not dollars. Can't look at yen. They gotta divide that by like 300. I knew that wasn't right. There's something weird about that. All right, no, it's 1/5. So there, okay, so that's about 10. So just divide it by 10, and there you go. So it's not 10, 100. Let's just divide it by 200 just to call it square, and that's what you got. So that's actually not a lot at all. That's like in line with, I think that was in line. That was much less than Microsoft. Microsoft was like 45 or something. I don't remember. So they were 88 billion. This is like 4 billion. Uh, More than that though. Let's just call it 6 billion. So it's that number. Um, so yeah, they're still doing a lot though. So that's okay. There's again supplant the original without adding any meaningful or new different features. Uh, I think if you take away features, that should be considered too, because it's a reduced feature set, and it adds. Uh, ease of use. So ease of use at a reduced feature set, and it doesn't supplant the original. So I've already said that about a million times. It's basically all I have in their defense, but I think that counts. I think that's completely legitimate. I guess the only reason I care is because it seems like there's a lot of free stuff that gets given out that's useless, that can't, like, a lot of the things that are free are not really uh like, we still don't have free Wi-Fi. We still don't have free books. This should be the Library of Congress should be doing this. But they'll do things like, I don't know. I don't know. All the things that I can think of are free are not really done by the government. They're more like, I'm going to, like, free condoms, free, birth control, free not that those things are bad, but, like, if you're gonna be out, like, that's kind of inconsequential. Uh I don't know. I can't really think of any examples right now. So maybe there aren't enough free stuff. But if there are free stuff, these should take priority. Whatever, if there is anything that's given out that I don't know about, the Library of Congress should take priority. If it costs money, which it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to cost any money. No one, they already showed that there. I mean, I guess it was a week. There was no proof of causation, but there was the amount of profits doesn't seem to be affected by what's released. So that it's not like people were directly losing money. And the fact that this is down, it's not like we're going to see profits skyrocket. It's not going to cost anybody anything if the Library of Congress just released all their information online for the public. That's the kind of free shit that should exist. Wi-Fi should come along too. There's no reason that every city should be able to get their shit together to put every county too. It's not going to be that much. There's almost free Wi-Fi. Uh, it's that if there's going to be free shit, that's some of the free shit that should come along. Uh, you know, yeah, I think I'm gonna play Xbox. It is Sunday, so it is Lord's Day. I hope you guys give thanks. I'm thankful. It is beautiful weather outside, so I don't think anybody's actually watching this. Maybe there's. It looks like, I guess maybe somebody did, but give thanks. I'll be giving thanks, and I'll be chilling. It's Sunday. I'm not doing anything today. Supposedly, I'm not supposed to be eating or drinking, but I am gonna be drinking, like, water type beverages. So not that kind of drinking, unfortunately. Not that drinking's bad. Drugs are bad generally. So don't do drugs. Read books. if you want to. And don't kill people unless they took your stuff. And be nice to everybody. And don't listen to people telling you what to do. And don't uh, don't take advice from strangers. And don't believe what people tell you on face value. Don't watch videos of people talking for lengths of time that are unnecessary about topics that they're not an expert in. And don't die. Peace. Unless you have to. Like, at some point, you are going to have to die. And if you want to die, like, try not to die. But if you did die, like, if a lot more people died, things do seem, just try not to die. Don't kill yourself today. Maybe tomorrow. Just not today. Peace.